Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Dropping the Gloves. Before we get to a big interview we have with I would say friend Tim, Matt Roy, of the now Washington Capitals, formerly Los Angeles Kings, formerly Michigan Tech University Huskies. Very excited to have him on. But before we get to that, Tim, you have some words for the people.
People need to know that this episode is brought to you by Bet365, the proud partner of Dropping the Gloves. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use promo code HOCKEYCA to create your account today.
And for those of you curious, we will get to Tim's weekend away with his girlfriend next episode. I am as disappointed as you are, because I want updates. I specifically told him to not tell me anything, because I want it to be fresh. I said, save it for the show, Tim. There's a lot of stuff we need to break down. Lots of Instagram posts. Lots of stuff happening. So yes, don't you think that I have forgotten just because we got this interview. We have lots of stuff to talk about, Tim. But all that aside, enjoy the interview. Matt Roy, you're going to love it. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dropping the Gloves. Thanks for joining us here. We got a big deal, Tim. It's not every day you have two Michigan Tech grads gracing the show with you. You always get one, myself, but now we have two. It's amazing. Matt Roy coming at us from Detroit, Michigan, Plymouth to be precise, but just newly minted Washington Capitals star. I think we can put that moniker next to your name now with the amount of money that they're paying you, Matt Roy. Thank you for joining us here, Matthew.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Well, and he's so excited already.
I
love the excitement when a guest comes in and he just comes out of the gate with that much energy. I love it. I know what Washington's getting now. Did you feel that, Tim? Did you feel the energy?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Very exciting. Washington's ready.
Matthew. Well, anyways, thanks for joining us here. Like I said, MTU alumni. Did you ever, and we'll just get the MTU stuff out of the way because I still go to Tech quite a bit. Do you ever get up there any time, Matt, since you graduated, or are you kind of staying away from MTU for now?
The last time I went up there I think it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I went up there and helped out their hockey camp they had going on for a week. And then I think my wife met me up there. She flew up from LA and then we spent the weekend there and then just kind of drove back down through the UP back home to Plymouth to see some family. So it's been a couple of years, but I'm always itching to get back up there.
Yeah, so when you were there, you were a fairly successful team, played for 3 years, got your degree. Kudos to you. No, not many people can do that. It took me about 5. I took classes after I left because I got a mechanical engineering degree.
Yeah, it's a little tougher.
A little bit harder than a sports management, but to each his own.
Yeah.
I was joking with Matt before we came on that they gave me a sports management degree when I went for my visit. They said, thank you for coming. Here's a degree for your efforts. And I said, I appreciate that. I threw it away because it's useless. But
well, so I hear mechanical is the easiest engineering.
It is. No, civil is. We call them simple.
Yeah, okay.
But anyways, back to you. You were successful there. You were there when I was in the All-Star game. I want to make this podcast all about me. Were the boys excited that I was doing well at the All-Star game and those sort of things? Or was it just like, this guy's a goon. He's an embarrassment to Tech. Why is people paying attention to him? What was the mood at Tech when that was going on?
The whole town was going to explode. Everyone was excited.
Was it? Was it on the Gazette?
It had to have been, yeah. I didn't read that too much.
But in all honesty, in the room, did you guys care at all?
Yeah, I think it was fun for us. And, at the time, it was Michigan Tech's name wasn't really out there too much. So it was just fun to have someone having success that went to Tech and, we had heard so much about. And it's just kind of fun to relate to.
Huh, I see. Now, you mentioned not a lot of people from Tech getting to the NHL level. Do you feel some sort of responsibility now that you have made it? You're the biggest name now playing in the NHL from Michigan Tech. I know there's a few guys here and there who are playing, but it's you. You're the star now. Do you feel any responsibility to carry that torch that I carried for so long?
I don't know if it's responsibility, but I just feel proud to come from Tech and I did have some teammates that have had success playing pro hockey, and there were guys that I looked up to playing pros when I was there. So, I don't feel responsible. I'm just proud, and I'm so happy I went to Tech, and I had so much fun there. I loved all my teammates and staff, and I can't speak more highly of it.
I will say, and I'll be honest, going to Tech, I'm assuming you didn't expect to get drafted because it's not a highly, sought after school, I would say. We're a second tier, but we overachieve every single season. We always are consistently in the top 15 nowadays, but there's bigger schools out there, bigger market. When your draft year came around, 2015, did you expect to get drafted at all? Had you talked to teams? You obviously had a family advisor at that point. You couldn't have an agent. What was your expectations going into the draft?
None really. I mean, the year before when I played juniors, I had missed pretty much the first half of that season with different injuries. So going into school, I didn't really have, too much junior experience. So going in, I just wanted to just play good, simple hockey. And I ended up playing with Shane Hanna, who I played with him all 3 years there. And he was a very deep partner who helped me a lot. And I just kind of played my game, played a more defensive role, I would say. And I don't think I had any goals my first year.
Zero goals.
Zero. So I still ended up sneaking into the 7th round there, and it was great.
I had 1 goal my freshman year.
Okay, you got me there.
Well, I guess if we're comparing, I was probably a better freshman. You've panned out a little more, but I found it funny. There was only 7 rounds in the NHL draft at that point, and you were drafted 194th. So you almost didn't get drafted. So how amazing was it that the LA Kings, that was their last pick? They just said, we're going to throw this thing at Matt Roy. There's your dog. We talked about it before. But was it a big moment for you to get drafted? You're a freshman coming off a decent first year. How big was that for your confidence to get drafted?
Yeah, it was. Sorry, my dog just went nuts there. But it was not expected. Getting drafted, going to development camp, meeting the guys, meeting the staff, and then bringing all that to my sophomore year, it really did help my confidence. And there's just a lot of work and a lot of different angles that went into it all.
All right, so you get drafted, you go play with the Ontario Reign, you make the LA Kings. Let's fast forward to the contract, because I was a free agent, I think 6 times. I never got a long-term deal. I was always a UFA come July 1st. Take us back to last week. It's July 1st. Had you had any prior conversations with the Washington Capitals? You obviously knew Pierre-Luc Dubois, who had been traded there. He was on your team with the LA Kings. You knew you were going to be a free agent at that point. Did Rob Blake pull you aside beforehand and say, hey, we're going to move in a different direction?
No, yeah, it was, Blakey did come at me with an offer, and, it was really hard to leave LA because I've had, such great experiences there, and all my teammates have been great. But I ultimately decided it was just time for my wife and I to get out of California and try something new. So that was tough, but, we made that decision, and, we knew that there were some teams interested. At the end of the day, I think when I heard Washington was interested, it just felt like a great fit for me and my wife. And I've heard nothing but great things about the organization and the players in the area. So, it was just kind of a no-brainer when I heard they were interested. I just wanted to go there.
Why though? Well, it seems strange for a no-brainer because the Capitals, in all honesty, they're a team that's kind of in an unknown right now. They should potentially have been rebuilding the last couple of years, and they've overcome that. And all of a sudden, they had some success last year. What makes them a no-brainer, Matt? Where it's just like, oh yeah, they're interested 100%. Was it the money? Because it's like the money's nice.
Well, I mean, money definitely talks, but for me, a lot of it is just like, if I'm going to sign a long-term deal, I want to be somewhere that, I think my wife will be happy. I think I'll be happy. Just fitting into the room and the culture, I think that's a huge thing. And the team itself, I think there's a ton of potential, and I think you saw that with the trades this year and the free agent pickups. I think they made a lot of great moves, and I think it's really going to push the team forward.
So without divulging too much, how many teams were interested? Because coming into free agency, we always talk about the needs of teams, and it's always a right-handed defenseman who can defend and is pretty good offensively. That's you. You're the unicorn. They don't make you very often. So was it just a laundry list of teams calling your agent, say, hey, would Matt want to come here?
I wouldn't say it like that, but it, we definitely had a few teams to pick from. Just trying to hear everyone's, thoughts on things. And there's different parts of the country, and, there's Canada, there's the States. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. But at the end of the day, it came down to, 3 teams at the end. And, we decided to move on from LA, and Washington just seemed like the best fit.
Well, why didn't you want to go to Toronto? Was it just the environment? Or
no, I mean, the environment's good and bad. I mean, there's fans can be great and they can be bad. It's just, how it is. But I didn't want that to be the reason why I didn't go somewhere. So, there's a lot of pros and cons to Toronto, just like LA and some other teams. But again, I think it all kind of comes down to just the fit for my family, the fit for hockey. I think it's going to be a really good fit with some of the other defensemen I'm going to be playing with. And I just think it's going to be a great fit for me.
Well, speaking of the fit for hockey, you must have looked at the moves they made in the week leading up to free agency, with trading for Logan Thompson, trading for Mangiapane, as well as your former teammate Pierre-Luc Dubois. Did you look at those and say, okay, this team wants to win, they're focused on winning now? Did that help impact your decision?
Yeah, definitely. I thought every move they made was great, and I think it's really going to help the team. So when you see a team moving in that direction, it just kind of makes me inch more towards them, for sure.
So, elephant in the room, PLD, Pierre-Luc Dubois, very, what's the word to use? He garners a lot of attention. High draft pick, played, in Winnipeg, went to Columbus, then to LA, resurrection type deal. Rob Blake signs him to a long-term deal and then gasses him right away. Why? What happened last? And I don't want to get you in trouble or this and that, but what was the reasoning behind all of this? The signing and then the trade. As much as you can divulge, or everything if you want to. We're tech buddies. So feel free, Matt, to speak.
No, honestly, I don't. I don't know. I mean, I think if you asked him, he would say, he had a down year. But it's nothing like, I feel like the media paints this picture of him. And to me, it couldn't be further from the truth. He's a great teammate. He's a great locker room guy. He gets along with everybody. So in terms of all that, I don't know where the media is getting all this stuff. If I hated the guy, I probably wouldn't have come to Washington. He's one of my closest friends on the team. And, I really think he's going to have a bounce back year, and I think he's really going to be good for the team.
Do you just think he didn't fit in LA because of the center depth that was already there? Like you had Kopi, you had Deneau, then he slotted in underneath those guys. Was it just too much depth at center?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe?
It's
Okay.
I don't want to critique his game too much. I don't know where his headspace is at or what he thought of things. But maybe if he was expecting a bigger role and was kind of more on the third line, I don't know. But again, I think he's ready to have a good bounce back year, and hopefully that'll carry on for a few more years.
So you signed with the Capitals. Obviously, the greatest goal scorer of all time is now on your team, Alex Ovechkin.
Mm-hmm.
Before you signed, did the coach and the GM and Ovi himself tell you that your sole job is to get him the puck at all times so we can break this record?
No, but I kind of figured that was the case going into it all.
Win, lose, or draw. I don't care. Get him the puck, because that's what I think they were going for. Is that going to hinder you? Because I know you like to shoot. You're not a big passer. Are you and him going to butt heads a little bit?
I hope not. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to know each other's playing styles when the season comes, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure our games will mesh together at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I know we're going for that record, so hopefully you can get those and we can get wins as we go.
Does it make you nervous? Be honest, because listen, I got nervous. My last year, I walked into the room and Joe Thornton was there. I was like, holy crap, that's Joe Thornton. I had a poster of you on the wall. Is it going to be nerve-wracking walking into the rink, the practice rink, wherever it is, day one, and you see, Alex Ovechkin there?
I mean, I'm sure it will be a little, but I think it's also just natural being on a new team with a bunch of guys that I don't know. There's Carlson, there's Ovechkin, there's a lot of talent there that's been around for a long time. So I'm sure there will be a little of that, but at the end of the day, everyone's been welcoming so far. And I think once you get comfortable, they're just teammates. And, I played with some great players out in LA, and you could say the same thing about them. You see them at dev camp or training camp, and you like, oh shit, that's Kopi. And then, you just settle in, and then it's just Kopi, your teammate. That's great.
So you mentioned playing with good players. You've been in LA, for the last 5 years? Bouncing around that lineup, up and down the lineup. You obviously found your footing the last few years, and you've been playing great, great hockey. Can you talk about playing with a Drew Doughty? I think one of the most underrated defensemen in the NHL. Obviously, high contract, but just everything he does. I think people just pigeonhole him into this, offensive guy. Such a solid D-man. Can you speak to how he impacted your game, and B, just how fun it was to watch him?
Yeah, I think people think of him as, this offensive D-man, which he is. He's very talented offensively, but I think what I noticed most about him is how great he is at breaking pucks out and making like neutral zone passes and just kind of starting the play from our end. I think he's probably the best in the league at breaking pucks out and making those plays. So that's what I noticed the most. And I tried to take notes when I could and learn from him. And then in terms of defense, I think he's always trying to play physical and trying to, shut it down in the D zone. He's not just looking for points and trying to get up the ice like that, which I think is different from a lot of young, talented superstar D-men we have today.
Do you talk as much smack as he does?
No, I would if I was good at it, but I'm just
You're not good?
No.
What's your go-to?
So there's pros and cons to
that. You speak with your game. Very nice. That's such a sports management thing to say.
Yeah, exactly. Engineers don't really speak too much, though, do they?
Oh man, I'm above everybody's head when I'm chirping. They have to think about it back at the bench. They're like, what did he call me? Did he bring up differential equations? What's going on here?
Writing it down, trying to figure it out. That's funny. Well, speaking of Hall of Famers, I mean, Kopitar is certainly a first ballot. Can talk a little bit about, what he's like. Because outside of, he hasn't won a cup in 10 years, but he's still an elite player. And you don't hear a lot about him out east because he's playing, the late night games and traveling the different divisions. What's he like as a player and as a leader in the room?
Kobe's great. I think with him, he's just consistent. Like every night, he's just, in a good way, he's like a robot. He's just doing the right things all the time. He's producing all the time. He's playing great defense all the time. So I feel like he gets into a routine and he just starts to feel it. And it just seems to be every night he's doing the same stuff, which is great.
Boring to talk about.
Yeah, it's like fun to shoot the goal zone and make backdoor passes and all that.
Can you say something exciting that we can clip out and use for an ad? He's just so great at everything.
I've taken my money on the golf course a few times, but
kidding. What's your handicap?
It's like a 10.
It's not bad. You guys play here's a question, because I didn't really play in warm weather climates too much. What's an off day look like in LA? Because you obviously, 6 years there, you're familiar with the environment. What do you guys do? You have 2 days off. What's the game plan for the boys?
Golf is definitely fun to do. It's just kind of where we live. It's kind of hard to get to different courses. So I tended to be lazy and not go as much as some of the other guys, but golfing is big. Some guys like to surf and go to the beach, do that stuff, but during the season it can get a little cold. So I don't know. For me, like we just had our first baby, so I was at home trying to be in dad mode on days off and after practice, and just trying to kill time that way, I guess.
Kill time. Such a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
It's killing time watching the kid. Was it tough to leave LA? Because, you build relationships. Was it difficult?
It was. Yeah, not even like, obviously I have friends and teammates at the rink and everyone that I know there, but we made some great friends away from the rink as well. My wife used to work out there, so we got to know people through her work, and our neighbors were awesome everywhere we went. So it was hard. There's a lot of pros and cons to LA, and we just kind of weighed them all and decided it was time to leave. So
when I was doing prep for this episode, I found this clip of Kevin Fiala boarding you from behind. He got you pretty good in the corner there, and I think he got 3 games for it, and you got a concussion, and then a couple of years later, he's your teammate. Was that a conversation you guys had to squash that beef?
Oh, yeah. You talk about an elephant in the room. It was, we handled it right away. After the hit, he apologized to me multiple times. He came into the training room to check in on me, and I knew he was sorry, and it just kind of lingered for a couple of years. And then when he came to us, I think it was our first conversation we had. So it was not a big deal at that point in time.
Do you start the conversation?
I think we just kind of looked at each other, and he was just like, sorry, man.
Crazy. Wow.
Yeah, that was a tough hit. But, I like to bring it up every now and then to keep him honest. But
call him a dirty player. Have you been suspended ever?
No.
Fined?
I don't think so, no.
Wow.
Try to keep my money if I can, but
I was not. I got suspended a lot. It was not fun to pay that fine. All right, let's talk about the LA Kings, because what I think of the Kings, I think of, like you said, veterans who've won multiple Stanley Cups, young good core, playoffs. Edmonton Oilers, 3 straight years.
Mm-hmm.
Year 1, you lose in 7 games. Year 2, you lose in 6 games, and then this year you lose in 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell happened, Matt? Because when you lost in 7 games, I believe you're up 3-2. It was going to be a huge upset, right?
Yeah.
Then they came back and won the next 2 to beat you in 7. And then obviously the next 2 years it didn't work out. Just talk about that. Just talk about playing those guys, and then the heartbreak of losing. Really dig in. If you want to cry, this is safe space.
Yeah, the thing with Edmonton is, they're obviously McDavid and Draisaitl. They're just so good. You almost you can't play them like any other team. So you kind of have to modify your game and try to stay out of the box as much as you can. Because I think, in my opinion, that was the biggest factor in all 3 of those series was their power play versus our PK. So, you're probably not going to win if they're going at 50% on the power play.
Yeah.
I liked our teams 5-on-5 against them. I thought we competed well, and we had some big goals at big moments from players. We just couldn't, for whatever reason, just get over the hump.
Can you talk about it more in depth about how you game plan versus McDavid? Because when I played, you would game plan versus good players, but I don't think it's to the extent of a McDavid where he really does deserve a full focus of 5 guys on the ice when he's out there. Can you talk, because you were out there against him, Matt, like you probably were matched up against him most of the time. What was your guys' plan to shut him down?
That's a good question. I mean, I think staying out of the box was the biggest plan.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
Yeah. Other than that, the team plan, it was not as much focused on him. Like for me, I just try to be hyper aware when he's out there, and I just try to keep him to the outside, and I just try not to let him get in and get a step on me, because as soon as he does, you blink at the wrong time and he's by you.
So that's your strategy. He's coming down on your side. You want to force him wide behind the net.
Yeah, if I can. I mean, I think he's always looking to get to the middle, or he likes to go through guys and things like that, and then make a backdoor pass or something. So I just think if you can try to contain him as best you can and make him give the puck up, I think you live to fight another day.
And then how do you go about shutting down Draisaitl?
A little bit of the same thing, but I think he tends to be more physical and puck protecting, and he's more of a shooter. So you just kind of have to be aware when Connor has the puck, you got to know where he's at, because you're going to find each other. So I think it's just a hyper awareness and just knowing where you are at in the game and where you're at on the ice, and just different situations like that.
Yeah, I feel very much that first series you lost in 7. You guys lost. You guys should have won that. You were the better team. And I picked you to win. It's unfortunate you lost. This year, was their depth a big factor in this? Because it out of all the years that they've been around, that big duo, it feels like this year was different. Obviously, they made the Stanley Cup Finals, and that was a huge thing. But was it apparent to you that third, fourth line was more effective in years past, where it was almost non-existent?
I think they produced more this year than they have in previous years. So when they're producing, it's really going to help their stars get some relief, and their stars, if they're producing as well, it's hard to beat. So I think they performed well. Yeah.
Is it annoying you didn't beat them?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, right. It sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to ask these questions. It's like you almost have to.
Yeah, no, I get it. And from a fan's perspective, like, I understand. And it's just one of those things. I think we had him a couple times, and it just slipped away from us.
Were you surprised at the hype you were getting this year? Your stock rising the way it did, because you came in 7th rounder, worked your way into the lineup, had a good AHL career with the Reign, and slowly but surely worked yourself in the lineup to being, one of the top guys on the ice, playing big minutes, getting big moments, putting, a decent amount of points on the board. Did you ever stop and go, holy, I might be, the second best defenseman on this team? This is incredible. You're getting so much attention. Did that ever catch you off guard?
Not really. I think it's, a pretty gradual progression. But I think as soon as you start thinking like, oh, look how great I am, I think that's when you're going to find yourself in trouble. So for me, honestly, I try taking everything one game at a time, because there's so many games. It's, you really have to stay dialed in, and all the contract stuff, all the free agency stuff, that'll take care of itself. But for me, during the past years, I just wanted to just keep building and keep climbing and let everything fall into place.
Yeah, I made a list of players that you overtook in the LA Kings system. I was going to read them all down, but I didn't want to embarrass all the guys. It's quite impressive. Guys who were drafted before you, in years before you, years after you. It's got to be, it's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does. It's been a long road with a lot of hard work for me personally, and it does feel good to get rewarded and step into new roles and bigger roles. And
so now, is it complete shutdown mode? You got 34 and a half sheets, and it's just like, shut it down, baby. Let's go.
That's a recipe for disaster there. No, I want to keep building and win and have success in Washington for sure.
No, that's funny. All right, Tim, you got one?
Yeah, I'm just going back to McDavid real quick. Did you prefer when him and Draisaitl were on the same line or separate lines?
That's an interesting question.
That is interesting, because if they don't score when they're both on the ice, then once they both get off, then I like our chances better. But when they're split up, you got to worry about one of them at all times. So that's a good question. I don't know. Probably when they're both on the ice. It's fun to play against them, and it's fun to shut them down if you can.
Are they a main factor why you left the Western Conference?
No. Anything, I want to play them again and get a 4th run at them.
Oh, you Stanley Cup Finals.
No,
That's the only really way you're gonna play him again. Have you played in Washington very many times? East Coast team, probably see him once a year.
Yeah, not maybe like 4 games in Washington. But
Yeah, we played him in the playoffs one year. Stadium's fantastic, rocking. They almost weren't they going to leave Washington? Did that factor in? Did they iron out the arena situation there?
yeah, that was all figured out by the time I came in.
Okay, so they're staying.
I think they're renovating a bunch of stuff at the arena now.
Has anybody reached out from the team?
Yeah, a few guys. Tom Wilson, Carlson. No, not Ovi yet, but maybe my phone's not working. I don't know.
He's a terrible leader. That's what I've heard. He's just in it for his goals.
Yeah, right. No, everyone's. I had some players reach out. Sandine reached out, and all the staff reached out. The coaches called me, and a bunch of the wives reached out to my wife, which is great. So it's been very welcoming so far.
It sounds like your family plays a huge part in this. What, and this is an earnest question. It's very refreshing because I felt the same way. Why? Why does it matter what she thinks?
Well, I think if anyone drags their wife anywhere they don't want to be, it's going to be hard to, be happy and have a good experience there. So
I agree.
I think she's actually never been to DC too much either herself, but I just think from my experience, it'll be a great place for her to live and for our son to grow up. And from what I hear, it's very kid friendly and kid forward. There's a lot of educational things for them. So I just think all that bundled together, I think it'll be a good experience.
When I was doing my free agency, my wife, there was a few years where I had a couple teams knocking, Matt, maybe not as many as you, but a couple years I had 3 or 4. And there was always Edmonton. Oddly enough, they always wanted to sign me. And she said unequivocally, not a chance. Never, ever. And they were offering some pretty good money. Is there any teams that she just said, honey, no way, not going there?
No, I will give her credit. She kind of put the ball in my court and let me lead. Because, obviously the hockey side is a huge part of it all. So, she wants me to have success. She wants me to win. And I want her to be happy. So, she just kind of let me take the lead and figure out our best options.
You could say she let you manage the sporting aspect of it.
Yeah. And I think she trusted me with the living and all that side.
Hence your degree, sports management.
Exactly. So
coming into play. See, Tim?
Yeah,
See what I did there?
That. I sure did.
All right, Matt. Well, every player we have on this show, we do a rapid fire. And it's very, very popular. People love it.
All right.
It's Tim's kind of go-to thing. We've had some very good answers. Nikita Zadorov was on a couple weeks ago. He killed it. You are a smart guy. You come from Michigan Tech. Your pedigree is there. I expect big things.
All right.
So, Tim, take it away.
Who has been the best D partner of your career so far? Or your favorite?
Gavrikov. Probably Gavrikov, my most consistent. Played with him the most too, probably.
Which player did you most idolize or model your game after when you were a kid?
Tech alum. Maybe a Tech alum.
Yeah, John Scott.
Who did you say? Nick Lidstrom?
Nick Lidstrom, yeah.
Detroit guy. Makes sense.
Yeah, obviously.
Besides McDavid, who's the hardest forward in the league to shut down?
McKinnon.
Is he the best player in the league?
He's right up there.
In your eyes, who's the number one?
I think McDavid, but they play a different style of game. So
yeah. Who's the best D-man in the league in your eyes?
Makar, probably.
Who's the most underrated player in the league?
Blake Lazat, old grinder out in LA.
Such a lame answer. Which guy, if you see winding up for a one-timer and you're going to eat it, you're like, this is going to suck?
Ovechkin for sure. I took Shea Weber's shot a few years ago. That one didn't feel good.
Who would you like to fight in the NHL the most?
Oh, God.
Who do you hate?
The Oilers. I don't know.
Everyone on the Oilers.
Yeah.
I saw your fight against Scott Sabourin when you were with the Reign. What were you thinking on that one?
That was like my second week out of school, and that was a little welcome to pro hockey there.
Scott Sabourin is a legit heavyweight.
Yeah.
And
that
you dropped your gloves with him.
Yeah, that didn't. And he's a lefty too, so
Yeah.
that didn't feel good. Yeah.
Why? It was 1-0. There was no reason to fight. He just gave you a little tap. You had to prove yourself?
I think in my head there was a little part of that, but I think something happened when he forechecked me. But I just kind of went for it, and that's just what it was.
Game 4 of the playoffs, Evander Kane dumped you behind the net. Dirty hit or clean?
I think it was a slew foot. I'd have to go back and check it out.
I thought it was a slew foot too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Shoulder to shoulder, but then his leg dragged. And you know where your leg's at if they're behind his skates. I agree.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Sounds like the Oilers are going to waive him. Are you happy about that? Or they're looking to get rid of him?
I'm not involved in this situation. So.
If you knew he was going to end up in Washington, would that affect your situation?
No.
Just creating drama here. It's fantastic. Yeah. All right, Tim, I hijacked your questions. Go for it.
Yeah. Last one, Matt. We have a lot of young kids that listen to the show. What advice do you give kids who want to get better at their game?
It's probably what everyone says, but just work hard and just try to have fun as long as you can. Me, I never saw myself truly making the NHL, and I just kept working. There were kids getting drafted into all these junior leagues, and I never got drafted into those. And you just kind of quietly keep working, keep doing your thing, and, it may pay off for you. So that's what I'd say.
Right now on Daily Faceoff, you're scheduled to play with Rasmus Sandin. Have they talked to you about who you're going to play with? Maybe a Chychrun or a Sandin? Has there been any discussion?
No, not yet. Just I've had talks with the coaches, but nothing hockey related. Just kind of about life and things like that.
All right, Matt, this has been great. You're very refreshing. Isn't he like cerebral, Tim?
Yeah, there's no fluff in his answers.
No, it's just like, this is my answer.
A word.
Well, it's a very engineering word of you to use.
I try to sprinkle in some vocabulary for you. I knew you could handle it because you went to tech. Other guys, I would just say, like, cool.
He's
I can manage it for sure, but
you definitely can. Is it frustrating always being around guys who barely graduated high school?
Well, when they think they're smart, it is. That's for sure.
You play cards and just wax them for all their money?
I wish I could say yeah, but I battle at the card table, I'll be honest.
Oh, I had a supplemental income for a good 7 years where I was just like killing it on the card table.
I've gotten better, but
poor Marian Gaborik, Tim, I probably took him for over 10,000 1 year. Buried him. And he just kept coming out with stacks. I figured Kopitar might be like that, but he's probably good at everything.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. What did you guys play?
We would play spades. We would play hearts. What else we'd play? It's been a while. Yeah, what do you guys go? What do you guys go for?
We did 7 up, 7 down.
That's what we would play. Yes. Okay. Yeah. That was the game I was thinking of.
Yeah, and then Doobie actually brought a game called Super Talk. It's like a partner board card game thing, and that's a lot of fun. So we played that for most of the year this year.
Does he got a full sleeve tattoo?
Oh God, he might have like just kind of random ones going down.
You got any tattoos, Matt?
No, not yet.
You gonna get one?
Maybe full sleeve.
Don't do that. Did you just look at your wife? She's like, "Yeah, tattoos are sexy. Get a tattoo."
No, my wife has a couple, but I don't know. I think it's. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. Just can't commit really.
You're getting real uncomfortable now, Matt. Why?
Well, I just keep thinking of where I'd put them.
Your bicep. How much can you bench?
Oh, not much. I haven't bench pressed it.
Like 225 maybe? You can throw that up once?
Probably 215, 225.
Are you stronger now or when you went to tech? Because I know in college, the Olympic weightlifting program is incredible.
Yeah.
Like you're clean pressing, you're doing all these Olympic weights. Are you stronger now or just I'm better at hockey now?
I was probably stronger back then, to be honest, because you just lift way more. But I think I'd say I'm more powerful than strong. So I think that carried over from like all the Olympic lifting and the powerful lifting. I think that kind of stayed with me.
Do you feel the dad strength?
You lose and you gain like as the season goes and all that.
What do you squat?
I don't know. I don't think people squat anymore.
You don't squat when you go to the gym? What do? You do
like trap bar, you do some Olympic lifting, some like just dumbbell lunges. Things
have changed, Tim.
The game has
I've
changed.
only been out of the game for like 5-6 years. I used to squat my face off. Front squat, back squat, lunges. Yeah, we used to do lunges.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I did a back squat.
I guess when you make 34 and a half sheets, you don't have to squat. You know what I mean, Tim? That gets taken out of the program.
Maybe that's why you made so much money. Didn't waste his time.
Yeah, there you go.
Tim, shut your mouth. All right, Matt. Do you want to give anybody your Twitter handle, Matt, so they can follow you?
Oh, God. I don't have Twitter, but my Instagram's not very cool anyways, so you guys can throw it out there if you want.
All right, we'll link it in the show's page. You're going to get an influx of followers after this interview. It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, I appreciate it. All joking aside, this was fantastic, man. I've been wanting to do that a while, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. Michigan Tech appreciates it, and good luck this year. Yeah, tell Ovi, tell him I said hi and I like him. I was very critical of him last year, and I think he heard about it. So
that'll be a good icebreaker.
I'm going to hit you up for his phone number. Just be ready. It's going to happen.
All right.
All right, man. Good luck with the move in this season.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Dropping the Gloves with John Scott, a member of the Nation Network of Podcasts. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from to never miss an episode.